A fire today left 2 people hospitalized and busted. Find out why police are investigating more than just the flames. The details next.
And a visit from the state's governor on campus. What department's professor he's backing up.
We saw some clouds move into the area. Find out if they're going to be severe or find out if they're just going to be typical April showers coming up in just a bit.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of UATV. I'm Ambrosia Johnson.
And I'm Reagan Sylvester. Thank you for joining us.
A 911 call leads to a meth bust for Fayetteville police. A woman called police around 1 in the morning screaming, saying there was a fire in the area. The fire led to an eventual explosion. Police say that the 2 people in the apartment were running a fully functional meth lab that got out of control and caused the fire. No arrests have been made due to the injuries of the suspects.
And now an update on an officer shot last month. Lieutenant Ty Augustine was shot after responding to a suicidal person on March 15th, and now a month later he is at home beginning his 12-month recovery. According to the Washington County Sheriff Department, Lieutenant Augustine's wounds are expected to heal in the next couple of weeks. 24-year-old Raymond Plumley is accused of shooting the lieutenant. Plumley pleaded not guilty to all of his charges this morning. Plumley faces 4 counts of attempted capital murder and 5 counts of terroristic threatening, among other charges. Plumley's court date is scheduled for June 2nd. Governor Asa Hutchinson is bringing his real-world experience to the classroom. Tonight, 10 lucky students will hear his expert opinion on a hot topic. UATV's Brittany Williams has more.
The governor's lecture will be about Homeland Security, one of many sectors of operations management. Homeland security issues range from safety after natural disasters like the tornado that hit central Arkansas last month to cyber attacks and suicide bombings by ISIS. Governor Hutchinson will pull from his experience as a U.S. attorney, border and transportation security director, and Arkansas governor to inform students.
So the governor is going to speak specifically to both the roles the federal, state, local government, as well as private industry have, and then what he's done in his experience to see the improvement of both increased security, but also to improve optimization and do all those functions with the least resources possible.
The master's program is one of the largest in the country and on campus. Students from Central Arkansas, Tennessee, and Florida may be watching the governor's lecture right now. Reporting for UATV, I'm Brittany Williams.
Next month, Arkansas's Emergency Management and Homeland Security Director will speak to the class. Students not enrolled in the Dr. Ham's course who would like to attend must register for the lecture at least 1 week prior.
Friends and colleagues are remembering the life of a former U of A president this week. Ray Thornton died of lung cancer yesterday morning. Former Chancellor Daniel Farrader reminisces the life and success of a friend and colleague, Ray Thornton.
He was a giver, and he loved Arkansas, he loved the people of Arkansas, and he worked very hard to give back whatever he could.
Services for the former president haven't been decided yet, but any events will be updated by the Rubel Funeral Home online obituary.
Today, a group of apparel merchandising students will head to the Walmart headquarters in hopes that their clothing design will be chosen for the My Life as a Doll line. Brianna Sabatini and Gabby Wisson were 2 of the lucky students that were chosen to have their designs sold in Walmart starting last February.
My little cousin Annabelle, she's 8, and when I told her I was designing something, I kind of wanted to ask her what her ideas were, and I actually went with that. She said she loved tie-dye, so I went with tie-dye. And she told me that she wanted to do what I'm doing because she was inspired by me.
Every garment that is sold has a tag on it saying that a University of Arkansas student designed it.
The Metal and Shine AMPD fashion show is tomorrow night. It will take place 7 to 7:45 at the Fayetteville Town Center. The designs are created by students in the U of A's Dale Bumpers College of Agriculture, Food and Life and Science Apparel Merchandising Program.
With springtime bringing weather that is potentially threatening, safety is at the top of campus officials' concern. In the spring semester, a blue skyline like this can quickly turn into this. Officials say not to take any chances while on campus.
If they receive a raise alert, they hear the siren going off, that means there is a potential dangerous situation.
And now let's head over to Michael Morrison for an update on severe weather that could be headed your way.
That's right. Thanks, Ambrosia. We're not really going to see much of the weather that we're seeing right there in some of these videos. We're not really expecting to see many tornadoes with what's moving through. But as of right now, some of our current conditions, I mean, it's actually a little bit chilly outside from what we saw. I mean, you might have wanted a long sleeve shirt, but definitely not that jacket that we've been seeing. There's some of those clouds that move through our area today, but like I said, the current conditions, 63, feeling like 63, a little cloudy. It's just one of those nice, really spring-like days. I mean, if you like the clouds and the rain and all that fun stuff. But just make sure to grab your rain jacket going in tonight, because we are going to see a touch bit of thunderstorms, and we're actually going to be greeted by some thunderstorms in the morning as well, but we're not really expecting them to be too severe. But coming up in just a second, we're going to have a look at your 5-day forecast. So with that, I'm going to send it back to you, Ambrosia and Reagan.
Soccer legend Abby Wambach is on campus this evening speaking to students at the U of A. Wambach's lecture started at 7 and is free to the public at Bud Walton Arena. Wambach is discussing her successful college and professional career, as well as the recent lawsuit filed by the women's soccer players wanting equal pay for play.
Students who reserve tickets for the Springtime of Youth Festival can pick up their tickets by Thursday, April 28th. Students will need their ID to pick up the ticket. This year's headliners include Diplo, Borns, Kevin Gates, and Trey O'Dell. The band Walk the Moon canceled its concert scheduled for August 11th at the Arkansas Music Pavilion. The pop group released a statement saying that the summer's tour was put aside due to a family member's illness. All ticket holders will receive a full refund and should call the AMP box office at 479-443-5600 if they have any questions.
The 14th annual Take Back the Night March will be this Thursday, April 21st. The event helps raise awareness against sexual assault and relationship violence. The walk is sponsored by Pat Walker Health Center, Star Central, and Respect Peer Education Group. The event starts at 6:45 at the Fayetteville Square and ends in front of the Old Main Lawn.
Many students head home for the summer and leave their leases behind. Instead of spending their money on rent, some students decide to sublease their apartments. But subleasing may not be the best option. Since students subleasing the apartment, the name is still on the dotted line, they are liable for any damages.
Subleasing is where you, as the resident, would be the middleman in basically the transaction.
Students who decide to sublease their apartments in the summer months are responsible for paying rent and any damages that may occur.
Next on UATV, 3 years after a tragic bombing, runners race to remember how people from all over the world gathered in one city to pay tribute.
And thinking of studying abroad?
It's nerve-wracking for sure.
We'll tell you how to stay safe on your next adventure. All that and more, UATV returns after the break.
People in Boston paused for a moment of silence Friday to mark the 3rd anniversary of the deadly marathon bombing. Church bells rang out at 2:49 p.m., the exact time when bombs struck near the marathon finish line. 3 people were killed in the attack and at least 264 were injured. An MIT police officer was killed 3 days later in a shootout with 2 bombers.
Thousands of runners laced up their shoes today for the annual Boston Marathon. This is the 120th year of the race. There were more than 30,000 participants this year. Runners saw increased security in light of the 2013 bombings and after the terrorist attacks in Brussels and Paris. Last month's attack in Brussels was the 11th major attack by ISIS in 2016. UATV's Cortland Dees found out how these attacks have affected U of A students studying abroad.
In the past 2 years, attacks linked to or inspired by ISIS have affected over 20 countries worldwide. 10 of those countries are home to a U of A study abroad program.
It's nerve-wracking for sure.
Sophomore Megan McTighe will spend next semester studying abroad in Spain.
For a while there was a high suggestion from the government not to travel to Europe, and so it's a big consideration in that I want to make sure that I'm safe before I'm going anywhere.
Staff at the Study Abroad office says health and safety has always been the most important part of studying abroad.
What we do in a day's work, the things we consider have not changed. What's changed is the world's changing. It's getting a little more complicated.
Long says all variables for safety are considered when a program is first proposed.
We need to be sure we've covered our bases in terms of staying informed and having good risk management in place. But it's always been a priority for us to do that.
Long says studying abroad is a unique way to experience personal and academic growth, and it is important to keep the risks involved in perspective.
You know, would you never go back to Boston again? Would you never go to San Bernardino, California? Would you never go to a movie theater again? Those are the kinds of things that you have to see, that relatively speaking, we still live our lives every day.
McTighe says the opportunity to experience another culture is worth the risk of living abroad.
With world events, there's always going to be something big going on, and so don't be scared of what could happen, but just go and experience instead of being held back by fear.
For UATV, I'm Cortland Dees.
Students interested in studying abroad can go to the Study Abroad and International Exchange Office on Maple Street or head to studyabroad.uark.edu. After the break, we will have more on your weather update. What days you need to bring out your umbrella next.
And a Razorback runner has returned from her trip in South Africa. How she feels about her results when UATV returns. Arkansas track is right in the heart of its season, but with the Summer Olympics approaching, some athletes have more on their mind than a championship. Ashley Weiss is live with more.
That's right, one of those athletes is Dominique Scott. She is in her last semester running for Arkansas, but this weekend she ran in the South African Championships in hopes of qualifying for the 2016 Olympics. She finished in second place and did not quite get the time she needed to qualify, but she's just getting closer each week. Here's a look at Scott's journey at Arkansas and what keeps her motivated to run for her home country. South Africa native Dominique Scott is on track to become one of the best distance runners in University of Arkansas history. But traveling thousands of miles from home wasn't an easy adjustment.
My family is an 8-hour time zone change away from me. Can't just pick up the phone to call them and chat with them. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges.
And that challenge translated into struggle on the track when Scott finished 41st in the SEC championship her freshman year.
It was so demoralizing for her to come in and basically get crushed by probably athletes that were at the time better than her, but ultimately couldn't hold a candle to what she can do.
But once it clicked, it stuck. Just 3 years later, she would be the SEC Runner of the Year and collect 9 individual titles. But her dreams will always consist of home.
I would love to represent my home country, South Africa, in Rio in 2016. If that was to come true, you know, I feel like I could almost put up my shoes and call it a solid career. But I know my personality, and just as a competitive athlete, I always want more.
It doesn't matter what the game is, she wants to compete. She's very humble, but she's going to stay in front of you.
Scott will be taking a week to recuperate and get training back before she begins running again on May 1st. For UATV, I'm Ashley Weiss.
The Summer Olympics will begin in Rio on August 5th.
There we go. Let's welcome back. At 9 a.m., we're still going to see a little bit of those thunderstorms. Just kind of moving in throughout the area. It's going to be 60, feeling like 60, so not much of a wind chill there. Looking at noon, we're going to see a little bit of an increase up to 66. Still feeling like 66, and still those thunderstorms hanging around. Let's look at 3. We're going to see it not really warm up much more after this. It's still going to hold right at that 66 mark with those thunderstorms, so make sure to grab a jacket on your way out the door tomorrow.
The internet has spoken. Bodie McBoatface is the winning name for the UK's new $300 million state-of-the-art research vessel.
The online poll ended Saturday, and Bodie McBoatface won with nearly 125,000 votes. The second most popular choice had only about 34,000. That will do it for us tonight on UATV. I'm Reagan Sylvester.
And I'm Ambrosia Johnson. We'll see you next time. Have a great night.